Welcome everybody, thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about the scale, or the arpeggio maybe, that really changed my blues playing forever and even my jazz playing. One of the things about playing blues well, I think, is having a lot of tools at your disposal. So it's not just a 5-note pentatonic scale. That can work. I think there's times to make that work for all 3 chords if it's just a 3-chord blues. But I think you can get a little more color, hit the chord changes if you are, you got some other notes available to you. A lot of times I think when you hear people playing major or minor pentatonics, you hear it really going from one to the other. So this is a good bridge for this, but it's also a nice bridge to working with other material like 7-note scales and other kind of, altered pentatonic scales. G, B flat, B natural, D, F. That's it. Okay? Now you might have noticed when I came down I didn't do this. So the idea is go the B flat first and then the B natural. So it almost serves as an articulation rather than necessarily a note. The G major and the G minor, right there in that position. We can continue to go up, and there's G major there, G minor, G major, G minor, so that's all 5 forms for the major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. What notes do they have in common? What notes are different? You have a G, an A, a B, a D, and an E. If we take a look at the minor, we have a G. That one's in common. We don't have the A, we have a B flat. We have a C, we have a D, that's also in common, and we have an F. So we actually have 2 notes that are in common, the G and the D, and then the other 3 are not. And I think back on the history of American blues when the music made its way up from the Delta into the cities like Chicago, it was coming as guitar music. And when it hit Chicago and piano players began adopting it and performing that music, well, they can't bend. So what do? That move on a piano. So guitar players borrow that back. So when I'm playing on the G7, going to the C7, then you might notice I put some other notes in there, and that's the beauty of it. You're not limited to that. It sounds a little like anything else. It can sound a little like a scale or an exercise if you're not careful. Here's the cool thing, is that when you go to the C7 or the 4 chord, well, you're not going to use this anymore. You're going to do the same idea on the C7. So 1, flat 3, major 3, 5, flat 7. When we go to the 5 chord, the D7, same deal. If I go you can hear me playing the changes. So here's where this scale really helps us mix the major minor pentatonic, because we do have the 1 and we have the flat 3 and the natural 3. Okay, I went over to the 4 chord. So clearly major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. Go to the C7. Now you can't play C minor pentatonic, but you can still play. You can still play G minor pentatonic. Same thing with the D7. You're not really going to play D minor pentatonic, but you can still play the E minor pentatonic. You can even get away with this thing with the E natural. Just like anything else I teach, I think you got to really map these notes on the fretboard. So yes, here we have, but take them up to the next spot. And the next spot. To the 5th. The B and the D. Then the 7th. Or you can even do this. You can articulate it with picking. The same thing with the C7. Go backwards now. So you notice when I was playing, and I went to the E7, I didn't jump up here, I'm right here. Alright, and even the D. C, G. So you should be able to do that in all the positions. You can just practice the scales there. C. D. Next one. C. D. Sorry. C. D7. And then the last spot. E. Got the whole fretboard covered. changes go by. So even in this arpeggio, you don't need that F. You could use put the E natural instead of the F, so the 6 instead of the 7. You go this way diagonally. And they can help you get into the 7-note scales, the blues scale. You know, when I'm playing the blues, I'm mixing a lot of things up. Minor pentatonic, major pentatonic, this arpeggio idea I'm showing you. The blues scale, 7-note scales, in this case Mixolydian. If it's a little bit more of a jazz blues or a fusion thing, I might do melodic minor stuff in there. I'm really using all 12 notes. I have a context for it, it's not random, but the blues is a great training ground, and it's a great, you know, style and genre all on its own as well, of course. Now, as always, in terms of practicing, put a metronome on. Just work on the scales, work on getting it under your fingers. For fretboard knowledge, say the names of the notes in time as you go. See if you can play the whole blues right in one position. Then try it in another position and in another position until you really get fluency. I know a lot of times we don't want to be stuck in one position, but it can actually be quite a challenge, because if I have an idea like this, it's very easy for me just to, oh, I'll just move it up to where it looks exactly the same and all the shapes are the same. But when it starts to change here, we can really get some nice stuff, you know. Go into the C7, or again, go into the C7 from the F to the E. So I'm voice leading, I'm finding the chord tones and the important notes in each chord that really make it stand out to the listener and make a more interesting solo than just playing a bunch of scales. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll enjoy bringing this stuff into your playing a blues in G, trying it in all the different keys, try it in jazz, try it in blues fusion, and bring your playing, your blues playing, your jazz playing, whatever styles you're doing, up to the next level. I use this approach all the time in my improvisations, even in my compositions, and you can check that out in my latest record. It's called In Defense of Daydreaming. It's a 10-song, all original composition, jazz fusion and rock and blues fusion and country fusion. A lot of fun stuff on there, and I hope you check that out, and we will see you next video.